We're back, and we just keep on rolling. So we're at the bottom of the segment. Going to talk some football again. Going to switch some lanes. Going to go from pro right into college, and I guess somehow do a quasi pro. Going to talk about Jim Harbaugh, the new coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, but the former coach of the Michigan Wolverines. And I got to asking myself some questions because a lot of the media coverage is brain dead when they look at Jim Harbaugh. They say all the right things, but they don't really talk to his legacy. And that's what we want to do. We want to talk about the legacy in Ann Arbor, why he left or why he may have been forced to leave. And these are all fair questions. And the question that we'll jump right into it and we'll just ask, what is Jim Harbaugh's legacy in Ann Arbor? How will he be remembered? And this is outside of the Michigan fan base. This is for everybody in the Big Ten and across the country. When you are an objective person and you look at all of the baggage that he had, the suspensions, and even the charges in the ongoing investigation by the NCAA, it just leads you to ask these questions. And if he is found guilty, but he's another, like I said, he's in a whole another job in a professional ranking, what happens to Michigan? What happens to Michigan? And we'll get into that when we come back from a quick break from another unofficial sponsor of the show. Yes, BK, have it your way. Try the Signature Whopper or Whopper Series sandwich. Download the app or visit your good folks down at your local Burger King. BK, have it your way. Order online. BK, have it your way. All right, so gonna go ahead and jump into this brilliant piece I was reading by Dennis Dodd in CBS Sports. And it says here, an NCAA rule that makes it more likely Jim Harbaugh could be charged with major NCAA violations has been at the heart of the coach's contract negotiations with Michigan. Now, this is what the sources are telling CBS. And under the NCAA's coaching responsibility provision, which was strengthened just 1 year ago on January the 1st of 2023, Harbaugh would be charged with a level 1 violation in the sign stealing scandal if any member of his staff is found to have committed a level 1 violation. Now, I think that's one of the hardest things that you get charged with, because they're not saying that he did the sign stealing, that someone on his staff did the sign stealing. It's kind of like, if we want to jump sides and give you an example, when Rick Pitino was the coach and you had this lady, Katina Powell, she came out and wrote this story about recruits and sex and money changing hands, and they implicated McGee and a lot of different folks in the U of L program. However, after the investigation, I think the only person to go to jail was Katina Powell. Rick Pitino was found innocent, and McGee has a job and he's still rolling and going. And then the players that they named, they were all in the NBA. And so, once you let those things play out, that was it. And I don't think the NCAA found McGee guilty, because it wasn't that Rick Pitino was. It's weird how people's culpability in this. They said Pitino, he had to know what was going on. And if you apply that logic by this logic, he had to have known that someone was stealing signs on his staff. And if he did, he doesn't have to be charged directly. It's his staff. However, for those transgressions, Jim Harbaugh would have a level 1 violation, and the charge itself cannot be argued. However, the severity of the penalty can be it can be debated before the NCAA committee on infractions. And I don't know why the media, they kind of brushed this over with a broad stroke. They didn't go into enough detail about it, that Michigan could still face infraction charges behind everything that they've done. The level 1 finding would remain on Harbaugh's record no matter his level of compliance, monitoring, or diligence in the matter. The modified rule is why Harbaugh's representatives have been seeking immunity from Michigan. Harbaugh's current Michigan contract includes a so-called strict liability clause regarding the 4 clause termination. It's boilerplate language in most coaches' contracts that states that they can be fired for cause if they commit any NCAA violations. However, the adjustment of the coaching responsibility bylaws has concerns Harbaugh and his team. If Connor Stallions, that's the guy who was on the Michigan staff who stole those signs, if Connor Stallions, the former Michigan staffer at the center of the sign stealing investigation, or any other current or former staff member implicated in the case is charged with a major violation, Harbaugh could automatically be charged with a level 1 violation. So again, you see where this is going, because that's why Harbaugh had to jump to the pros, because for things that he may have known about or may not have known about, they don't know about Connor Stallions and what he is saying and what he may be cooperating with the NCAA, he may not. Stallions, who resigned on no team, in which he videotaped signs of future Big Ten personnel, college football playoff opponents in violation of NCAA rules. It is not known whether Stallions is cooperating with the NCAA investigations. The previous interpretations of the bylaws presume coaches' responsibility, and the findings could be mitigated or dropped if a coach proved adherence to the NCAA rules. The updated interpretation of that January makes violations of the provision absolute. So you quickly see how he had to make a decision, because if he stayed in Ann Arbor, there's no telling how this Connor Stallion situation could have came down. And it seems like it was just a foregone conclusion that he would have got this level 1 strike, this violation on his coaching resume. And then there would have been sanctions. So let's be clear. Harbaugh left Michigan because he stood a good chance of being fired for the level 1 violation. Also, he didn't know if Connor Stallions was cooperating with the NCAA. Harbaugh's legal team was concerned the language could lead to his firing if the misconduct of the staff member automatically translates to a level 1 charge against the coach. And so when people sit here and they say, oh, Michigan was ready to offer Jim Harbaugh this huge contract, yeah, they was. But I mean, if Connor Stallions was convicted and he had been charged with anything through the NCAA, no matter how much money they would have had to pay Jim Harbaugh, Michigan would have had to fire him. And again, how does this help his legacy? Because these investigations are ongoing. They're still happening. NCAA play right now, he's ingratiating himself with the players and the front office, and yeah, but the people that you left behind, they could be in for a world of hurt. And we'll talk about that more when we come back from our last 20-second break from another unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern, App Stupid Podcast. Yes, KFC. Try the $20 big box or the $9 fill-up box. KFC, 11 herbs and spices. Download the app or order online. KFC. Okay, so Jim Harbaugh was seeking immunity from being fired from the Wolverines if found guilty of NCAA violations. Now, that's what Yahoo reported. And Jim Harbaugh's representatives were lobbying that the new contract contain language mandating any questions over NCAA violations go to a 3-person arbitration panel. The coach's responsibility change was instituted by Division I Board and Directors Infractions Process Committee as a way of streamlining NCAA cases. Coaches seeking protections from NCAA findings is not unprecedented. So he wanted language put in there for protections. And again, why would you need protection if you didn't do anything wrong? That doesn't make too much sense. Doesn't make sense to me. If I didn't do anything wrong and I'm innocent, I don't need protection. But under these NCAA rules and these coaches' bylaws, if your staff is found guilty, then you get, and it's not up for debate. So he could have been seeking immunity from that, but also if he's seeking immunity, he just didn't want to be fired, which flies in the face of conventional wisdom. Yes, Michigan would have gave you a working record contract, but once that investigation was finished and you all were deemed guilty in the investigation, they would have had to fire him. So did he take the Charger job because he wanted to, or did he take the Charger job because he was forced to? Again, how will he be remembered? How will that legacy translate? How will it translate? Because this is only one investigation. He's got another investigation. But when it comes to them asking for immunity with inside his contract negotiations, that's not the first time that it happened. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self has language written into his contract that shields him from being fined for major NCAA violations. So it's not a what they call a rare occurrence, but this is more to do about, hey, look, it's not an uncommon thing, but it raises eyebrows. Thomas Mars, one of Harbaugh's attorneys, posted on social media that every coach in the country will soon be seeking similar protections because of the new provision. Now, let that sink in. That's a rich thing right there when you say, okay, well, just because my client may or may not be in, because everybody's doing it. I mean, come on now. Plus, why would you go to social media? What lawyer is trying to win these cases in the court of public opinion? I mean, when they present the findings and you read the rule and the letter of the rules and the bylaws of the NCAA, I mean, that's how you try things out in the public. Again, Harbaugh and Michigan are also under investigation for alleged recruiting violations during the C-19 dead period. That investigation is initiated before January the 1st of 2023. So this going back to a year ago, before the 2023 season even got started, they were under investigation for recruiting violations. So we got sign stealing, we got recruitment infractions. I mean, allegedly, because these are still ongoing. However, having begun as far back as 2021, so this is going back now 3 years, Harbaugh is being charged with a level 1 violation for allegedly misleading investigators in that case. So, when they came asking about the allegations, he was actively misleading people. Allegedly, because this is what the NCAA is charging him with. And then when you think about it, I don't know why the sports media is not talking about any of this, because these investigations are ongoing, and because he's now in Los Angeles, that doesn't mean the people in Michigan, no harm, no foul, he's not here. No, they're still looking for this man. They're still looking and uncovering evidence in this case. The infractions committee did away with Harbaugh's negotiated resolutions in August that would have resulted in a 4-game suspension of Harbaugh in response to the recruiting investigation. The committee said that the case must go through a full investigatory process. As a result, Michigan self-imposed a 3-game suspension on Harbaugh for the beginning season of 2023. And that was meant to mitigate the penalties. So because the university itself had imposed punishment on Harbaugh, they wanted to kind of lessen the blow from the NCAA, kind of a, hey, look at us, we're cleaning up our own house. However, it's not about house cleaning. This has nothing to do with house cleaning at all. As a result, Michigan, they put that 3-game suspension on at the season. In the sign stealing case, the Big Ten, the conference itself imposed a 3-game suspension on Harbaugh in conclusion of the regular season. Michigan Michigan backed down on attempting to get a temporary restraining order allowing Harbaugh back on the field. So you've seen this a lot in the Big Ten, not just in football, but in Mr. Shannon Jr.'s case, the basketball player at Illinois State who actually took the university to court and got a restraining order because he felt that they had a rush to judgment. Now, Harbaugh's lawyers, Michigan was going to do the same thing to the conference itself to get him back on the field. But then they backed away. Why did they back away? I don't know. But these are all reasonable questions. The Big Ten agreed to end its investigation of Michigan as the school dropped its legal action against the conference. Michigan has received a notice of allegations in the first case involving alleged recruiting allegations. At best, it is thought the case could be concluded by the middle of the year. So we're looking at about April or May. At the latest, June, when Michigan's going to get word on the recruitment scandal. Now that stretches all the way back to 2021. And that would have been wrapped up faster had Harbaugh not misled investigators. The school has yet to receive a notice of allegations regarding the sign probe. Harbaugh could be on the hook for substantial legal fees if he chose to remain at Michigan and fight both cases. So, when you see him take the job at the Chargers, now this is all according to CBS Sports. Like I said, this was a phenomenal article, and it just laid out everything for you. And it's for people who are on the outside, people who don't even follow college. They don't follow college football like that. Even if you don't follow college football, where there's smoke, there's fire. We got sign stealing, we got recruitment violations, and they could all affect him. And the coach who just won the national championship would have been fired had he chosen to stay in Michigan. So him going to the NFL was the logical step and the best move, because that's the immunity that they were seeking from the Michigan University. But that's the immunity where, heck, he's in the pros. He doesn't care. And what happens to the good people in Ann Arbor, it's the fallout that they got to deal with. But I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Got our final story coming up. Going to talk some Atlanta Falcons football. This is Big Vern at the Ab Stupid Studio. I'm out.